Hi, ever wonder what it's like to work another profession or live in the underworld? Listen to unsuspecting riders give a 10 to 15 minute personal masterclass as I spontaneously interview them as they enter my taxi. I'm your host, Simon Rushton, and this is Taxi Chronicles. Morning. Yes, we're back with another rider, another story. Today we've got a very interesting, conscious young guy. Interesting guy, and he's called Bob, and we're gonna, you know what that means if you're a regular listener, and he's gonna tell us about how he got into the trading industry and what it was like, and he's just gonna give us his extensive experience. So nice to have you here today, Bob.
Well, nice to meet you. It's been a pleasure, Simon, and thank you for having me.
So what got you into that? What motivated you to get into that industry?
You know what, to be honest with you, it's because I generally dislike work with a passion, and naturally got to a point where emotionally it was getting a bit too draining, where you work for somebody else 24/7 and you want to break your back constantly for other people without them recognizing the hard work and the effort that you put in on a daily basis, and also the insecurity of being let go 24/7 and have that threatening mentality behind everything. Do you get what I'm saying? Whereas there's a level of discomfort, you know, and for me, when it comes to jobs, we just don't mix, you know, and even if you do something well, they'd always still have something to complain about. Even one little issue I've always had a problem with work, as crazy as it sounds, is the factor where people talk about, oh, you're never praised for being early at work, but you're always shouted at for being late. Do you see what I'm saying? Which is understandable, I can get that, but even then, if I ran a company, I'd be doing things a little bit differently. But in terms of business and ventures that I've been working on, due to the corona season, obviously I lost nearly over 100 grand. But at the same time, it was probably one of the biggest blessings that's happened in a long time. And there's a lot of blessings that come with adversity, and at times it's very, very demoralizing losing a lot of money. But when you've been blessed with the capability of working ridiculously hard and put the hours in, and you have a ruthless work ethic, you naturally feel comfortable in being able to be the best you can be. So for me personally, I know that mentally, that regardless of whatever setback I encounter, that mentally I'll overcome it naturally, just from the aspect of my sheer determination and hard work, and just making sure I get to the top regardless of what I have to go through, you know?
Just to give us an insight, what kind of work were you doing prior to getting into all of this?
To be honest with you, I was at university, and I remember I was at university and everyone else was around me was constantly going, oh, I want to go into chartered accountancy, because I did accounting and finance at uni. And then they were like to me, oh, I want to go to this university, I want to go into do a master's over here, I want to focus on this, I want to go grab the ACCA here. And for me, I couldn't be asked, I'm going to be honest. If I'm keeping a buck, I honestly couldn't care less. It was the thing for me, it was the fact that I went to uni simply so the fact that I can please my mum, that's number one. Two, it was the fact that it was probably a subject I do pretty well in. And thirdly, it gave me time to focus on my other business ventures. Do you know what I'm saying? So whether it'll be focusing on like elements in trying to understand how the e-commerce world works, whether it'll be trying to learn how to build revenue streams of income, and just literally that's how I came across trading, because I saw a dude I remember called it turned out to be a bit of a scammer anyway, to be honest with you, and it was he was one of those individuals that sell signals online on Instagram. And he has a Lamborghini, he's living a high life, etc. Without me noticing, it was the fact that this individual was getting simple payments from a broker for referral schemes through affiliate links. And after that period, it was a thing where when I saw these individuals making a crap load of money, I thought to myself, so if they're not going to show me how to do it, I'll literally force myself to find out how to do it. You know? And it came to a point where it was just constant losses, man. It was just constant problems, L's and issues, and when you're constantly losing money, it can be demoralizing. However, when it comes from my type of background, and you've gone through similar situations, and you've gone through certain trials and tribulations, like this type of L's are kind of normal to you. You become very desensitized to any type of frustration or pain or hardship or trauma. Do you get what I'm saying? So for me, it was never an issue, right? So for me, it was a thing where I was spending so much hours, for example, trying to find links on Google, trying to go onto YouTube to find any type of links and try to find any type of information I can find. But when you're a newbie, the reality is the fact that any information is good information. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it got to a point where I managed to filter out the poor information from the good information. And you only learn that through experience and the time that you put in. And now 4 years later, I have a skill set where I can practically do what I want to do and make money wherever I want to make money. But like I said, it's not all glitz and glamour. People be like, oh, you can make 80 grand, 100 grand. I know people that lost nearly $500,000 in about 4 days. But then I also know people that have made over 2.5 million in about 3 or 4. Do you get what I'm saying? Over a 2 month period. So it's really down to your mindset and your mentality and how you approach the situation. And there's a lot of issues surrounding people's mentalities, especially when it comes to toxic positivity. Some things are naturally effed up and there's problems, like accept it. You're gonna have to eat that. Do you get what I'm saying? So some people will be like, I have to remain positive during times of adversity. You know, there's no problem you remaining positive, but at the same time, you don't want to, what's the word called? Stop yourself from feeling a type of emotion because you're a human being. Do you see where I'm coming from? Yeah. So 4 years, I spent about 3 hours a day for like 7 days a week for like 3 years. And even then, now I have a skill set that can carry me for life. And when you want to introduce the element of mastery, it's a factor where you want to become the best in the business, and when you become the best around, you will work ruthlessly on a daily basis to make sure you achieve that. So that's my goal currently anyway, just to be the best around and the best I can be. And naturally, the money comes to you when you are naturally the best at what you do. Do you see what I'm saying?
So you're going to come back like a prize fighter.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I suppose you've learned all that experience, had all that experience, so you've got to put it to use, really. So would you say your background of accountancy really helped you understand the e-commerce?
Nah, not at all, to be honest with you. It didn't do much for me, you know? Like, majority of business naturally comes from the aspect of, you know, just getting to that stage in life where, for example, you can have to do everything yourself. Like, the thing is, it's interesting, right? Have you noticed when you go to university, you always have a business teacher, right? And it's like there you have lecturers and professors who do business management, but yet they've never ran a company in their life.
Yeah.
So what can they teach you about to business management apart from the odd logistics and...
Robert Kiyosaki talks about that fake teachers.
Yeah.
People who would teach you anything,
exactly,
just as long as they get paid.
Exactly.
Even if it doesn't work, even if they
exactly.
don't believe in it themselves.
Exactly. That's the biggest problem in the trading game, because there's a lot of donuts who don't know what they're doing, but they're selling courses for like £2,000 per individual. They're, in their eyes, they'll sell that on Instagram, show them the glitz and glam. 100 customers come your way, that's 200 grand.
That customer, I have to ask you this because I'm a big fan of him, but that guy you was talking about with the Lamborghinis, that's not Lopez.
Nah, no, that's Ty Lopez. I know who you're talking about. Not him. Okay. It's not him. It's another individual.
Okay.
You know.
I'm a big fan, and I've heard a lot of criticism of him, but I brush it off because the stories he tells,
yep,
they resonate with me.
Facts.
So if it resonates with me, then I can do something with it.
Facts.
In that respect of things. So what would you say to somebody who's considering to get into the business of
FX and trading in general?
Yeah.
Forex market, my best advice is expect to be beaten the daylights out mentally. You know, there's no glitz or glamour. It's just a very lonely road. You know what I'm saying? So you better be very, very prepared to get yourself into losing money on a regular basis before you could even remotely see some more part of profits. It's something called flow state, right? Flow state is where like you have a tendency to work in your field and you elevate ruthlessly through the fact of getting consistent and amazing results, right? So that's literally when you're in your flow state, it's like everything pops for you nicely. However, there's a period in life where not everything is going to go your way. So you have to have a lot of toughness, mental toughness, especially in terms of emotional resilience. And if you have emotional resilience and also you have a ruthless work ethic to become the best, I highly, highly recommend that you get yourself an individual who knows what they're doing. Do you see what I'm saying? And that's through proven track records, individuals who know what they're doing through the results they've proven, and also through word of mouth. Speak to individuals, talk to focus groups that's within your individuals, where you can get this type of information from. right? The reason why I love giving out information for free is purely because of the fact that these individuals could become sensational in the future, and naturally they'll be more inclined to help you. So this is why people will realize the fact that, oh, I'm not giving my information out, etc, etc. Now, it's pretty beneficial. Obviously, you don't tell everything you know. However, at the same time, it's good to give out certain information, because at the same time, there'll come a time where you don't necessarily know what you're doing and someone will come out and help you. Do you see what I'm saying?
So how would you recommend someone goes about finding a mentor?
I'll go about finding a mentor, someone who has a proven track record, someone who can be able to show you consistent results over a lengthy period of time, an individual that has in people who also talk about him in a high regard, and also individuals who like generally can teach you and actually have a love and hunger for teaching and helping you understand these price concepts and be able to show you how to implement them effectively on a daily basis during your Monday to Friday of the markets, you know?
Okay, that's good. So would you recommend yourself as a mentor?
I used to be one, not anymore. The reason why is because of the fact that I need to be displaying consistent results, and me losing 100k isn't showing me consistent results. At least I'm honest with myself, right? However, at the same time, now I've come to that point of level of consistency where I know that I can do it on a consistent basis. However, those who do not know, teach. Do you get what I'm saying? You know, you don't know how to do something, they'll teach you, and then all of a sudden you don't necessarily know how to do something. Do you get what I'm saying? And it becomes a blind leading a blind mentality. It's the sheep emphasis, you know what I'm saying? So it got to a point for me personally where I began to stop teaching. However, if people require information, I'd happily help them out, you know? And that's what I'm working towards personally, is rather than just giving for the sake of giving, you know? And if I'm going to get it for a monetary fee, it's got to be exquisite information where you can't find elsewhere.
Okay, but the general information is free-flowing?
It's free-flowing. Ask me anything, I'm an open book. I don't care what it is. And I have individuals within my inner circle that teach anyway, so I can refer you on to them.
How long did it take before you felt quite comfortable in what you were doing?
About 3.5 years, and even then, after I lost 100k, I was thinking to myself, oh shit, back to square one, you know, back to the chambers, you know, the mountain life, where, for example, you're thinking to yourself where you become secluded and you want to work on your craft and you want to find out where the problem is, you know, and it's very, very hard finding the problem when it's extremely difficult to see a situation for where you know you've been doing extremely well in with a specific strategy and trying to filter out the problems. But that's where journaling comes in, you know.
It's like you're trying to stand back from the picture to see where you went wrong, but you're in a small room.
Exactly. And it's hard to understand sometimes where your mistakes are until someone else may point out to it, but someone may not be on your skill level to even point it out in the first place. So you have to rely primarily on yourself, you know.
What do you know exactly where you went wrong now?
Yeah, exactly, 100%. And now I'm at a point where the rest of 2021 is grind mode for me, you know.
Could you give us a layman's explanation of where you went wrong?
Where I went wrong is the struggle to be adaptable in any market, you know, and also not understanding, you know, particular banking concepts of price that eventually made me feel as if, for example, that my strategy was no longer working in terms of the consistent results I was yielding. So it was the inconsistency over a period of time. So it was my lack of adaptability and also a lack of accountability as well, to primarily simply blame myself. And you usually see what I'm saying. So sometimes in life, the answer is just right in front of you. And the answer is the fact that this strategy is no longer working and no longer feasible. It's time to create a new one. Regardless how long it takes, it doesn't matter. You've been in the game for a long period of time. It takes 10 years to create an overnight success. You're in your 4th year now. So if you're in your 4th year, just make sure that you get to a level where you achieve everything you aspire to achieve. And just keep hustling 24/7 to make sure you get to where you need to get to. You know?
Okay. That's good. What would you say you wish you knew that you've learned that you wish you knew at the start?
Everything. If I knew that from the very beginning, I'd be a very rich man. You know, but it's all part of the journey, man.
Personality-wise, then, self-discipline wise, personality, what would you say you've learned?
In terms of, I have a huge amount of emotional resilience. I have actually no entitlement to success whatsoever. Where, for example, things can go immensely wrong and I wouldn't be too upset about it. For me, it's a factor of, it's part of the game. Expect it, you know?
That's a lot like what they say in Chinese cultures, like where they're big gamblers and they can lose a load of money and they say, well, maybe I'll win it tomorrow.
Yeah.
And it's nothing.
Exactly.
But where other people, I had a friend and I was telling her about the e-commerce, well, the trading podcast that someone had done, and she listened to it, and I said, well, why don't you get into, you got a head for numbers and all of that, and she said, I can't because I know I'm too emotional. So if I lose, it could destroy me.
Of course.
But I respected her for knowing herself to that extent.
Of course.
In that respect.
The human psychology, trading as a whole, exposed me to how completely weak the human psychology truly is, and how much a level of attachment of greed can genuinely influence decision making due to I can't even talk, during periods of fear. Do you see what I'm saying? You know, they say that you buy fear and sell greed in this market, right? However, you need to understand, for example, sometimes you need to be emotionally resilient, but you also need to be emotionally adaptable to your situation. And also, a loss, for me, I have the same exact mentality I have towards a loss as I do a win. I never let a win get to my head, and I never let a loss get to my heart. It's as simple as that, you know?
Don't let a loss get to your head.
And don't let a win get to your head, and don't let a loss get to your heart.
Yeah. I like I like that.
It makes a lot of sense, doesn't it?
No, it does. It makes a hell of a lot of sense. So what does the future hold for Bob?
Me? I'm going to be a millionaire within a year. But until then, to be honest with you, I just want to not talk, all action, straight grind mode, and I'm not saying nothing. Don't get me wrong, I have my plans, goals and aspirations, and there's a reason why I'm anonymous. And like I said, when you say low key, you don't want to shout your
unnecessary attention.
Yeah, you don't want unnecessary attention, but you don't want to block your blessings by feeding off any type of negative energy for them to throw you off of your any type of evil eye. There's the reason why I call myself, there's the reason why I'm anonymous here. You know? So at the end of the day, and when it comes to goals, dreams and aspirations, for me, I'm going to work ruthlessly until I get there. And I'll get there when I get there. If I don't, it's because, like I said, I've got to keep going. You know, it's a lifelong journey. So I will eventually get there. And I can't wait to do so, God willing.
You said you did 3 hours a day.
Yeah.
Now, is that all in one block, or is that like an hour and a half in the morning, hour and a half in the evening?
A bit of both, actually. So it depends on different days. If it's like my off day from uni, like I'll actually mash ridiculous amounts of work. If it's like a university day, then it's some in the morning, in the afternoon, even during my lectures, I'm still checking my charts.
So just obviously, I'm a layman.
Yeah.
And most of the listeners will be. Give us a typical day. So you talk about checking these charts. What are you exactly checking?
Alright, cool. Basically, what you would do is you would wake up in the morning. I trade from 7 a.m. London Open to near, for example, till New York, and that's from 7 a.m. to about 5 p.m. I don't like my trades running to Asia, and I'm dropping a bit of nuggets here, so pay attention to this. Asia has something called accumulation ranges, right? So when it comes to price, it just zigzags like this, up and down, up and down.
Like a roller coaster.
Yeah, but then you would have your buy levels at the top, and you have your buy levels at the top, sell levels at the bottom, and price will take you out during more time during Asia due to manipulation from banking and higher institutions and hedge funds who are investing heavily into that particular currency. So sometimes you need to be very, very careful trading out of session. So during the London period, during the London Open, and also during New York, you got to look at, for example, like particular pairs that complement that specific sector. Like if it's an Asian session, I'm going to look at something like Aussie dollar. Why? Because it's during the Asian time range. You know, by the time it's going on when we're asleep, it'll be like 2 p.m. in like Sydney or something.
Oh, Aussie dollar as in Australian dollar.
Australian dollar, exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. You clocked on very quickly.
Yeah.
Same thing with me. I trade only 2 pairs, like actually 3 actually. Euro USD, GBP USD, and gold as a commodity. So for me, I'd rather, there's a saying from Bruce Lee that said, I fear the man that practices one move 10,000 times rather than a guy who practices 10,000 moves once, right?
Yeah.
So that's the mentality I take in trading, is you become a master of one and absolutely rinse that pair dry.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I see that. That makes sense. So gold and currency is what you do then, really?
Yeah, 100. Commodities and currency.
Yeah, because you know what? It seems like it's something where it's like a real mystery and art to it. But then I'm meeting more and more everyday people who are doing it, and it's just it's fascinating me.
Yeah.
I don't have the head for numbers, but it is very interesting.
Yeah.
And about how things are. Do you reckon this market will last forever, or what's going to happen?
It's a $5.4 trillion business, and people constantly buy and sell on a regular basis through these huge banks and these higher institutions and these investment firms. So it's something that'll go on till practically, you know, for life.
End of time.
End of time, basically.
So even though the currencies are going to go digital eventually,
yep.
I'm no guru, but that's where looking. This market will still be around.
Yeah, even with like you're talking about like crypto as well.
Yeah,
don't worry, I'm heavily invested in that too. But I normally have a bunch of individuals who are experts in that field that normally message me about that. So, and I just hit them up to, for example, for me to look where to buy and sell, whilst also do my due diligence. I don't invest blindly. I have to obviously take into consideration many factors.
Okay, I get it. So you can't be a master at everything. So if you're a master at one thing and someone else is a master at something else, and so on and so on, then you're working as a team.
Exactly.
Giving each other things. But
exactly.
I scratch your back, you scratch mine.
And the thing is, friendship builds through that. That's the funny part. And people who are trustworthy, who don't always do things for money, is what really helps an individual out. There's so many people. There was a time where I was making serious waves in the market my second year, and there was individuals that I used to message, who I used to look up to. Eventually came to a point where I'd absolutely tear them apart on a one-to-one basis. So in terms of my results in comparison to them, I was ruthless, and I would get some incredible results whilst they would be struggling now. And these are the same people that ignored me. Do you get what I'm saying?
Okay.
During the time when I needed a bit of help. Yeah, you know?
I suppose helping people is like investing.
Yeah, you invest time into individuals.
Remember.
Yeah, they will. They'll help you out, man. For real, they'll actually if they're, like I said, like, the thing is, you're not doing it for them to strictly help you out. If they do, they do. If they don't, they don't. However, they're more inclined to help an individual who does it for free. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying you don't monetize it. You can monetize it, but you shouldn't be monetizing everyday information that could be seen as general and generic. You know?
This is something you could find out with research, but I'm just saving you the time.
Yeah, exactly. And the best part of it all my favourite part of it all, is the fact that you can literally become a millionaire off Google and YouTube and social media.
Yeah.
You know?
That sounds really superb, really great and stuff. Are there any social media people who do what you do, who like talk about it day in, day out? There's people on there, innit? For me, to be honest with you, there's individuals that you can check out. Like, can you give us the names?
Oh, for Instagram? Alright, cool. For Instagram, one of them is Young Trade King, which is actually my company. So talk about...
Just give it away yourself.
Yep. No, but obviously I didn't give away my name. There's a big difference. Okay. You probably find out my name from there anyway, but it doesn't matter now. But at the same time, it's a thing where you have also another company which I think are absolutely brilliant, and they're my guys, and I've got so much love for them, and I think they're doing amazing things for the culture. That's Offshore Keys.
Offshore Keys.
Yeah, they're sensational as well. A bunch of brilliant trainers.
Keys.
Keys.
Yeah.
And also there's many other individuals that's surrounding within that type of community.
So once you click onto those, you'll see their other things. What about YouTube? Because many of my listeners The average age of my listeners is 36 to 44.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
So, any for YouTube, or those people all on YouTube as well?
Yeah, YouTube. Or you could even search up my YouTube channel. I haven't done it in a while, to be honest with you, only because I decided to quit social media and I'm focusing on my own hustle and grind. But it's like I said, it's Young Trade King. You can check that out. And there's, like I said, in terms of when it comes to people who are at the top of their Forex game, where, for example, it's very, very hard to find who's real, who's fake. So be very careful by being swayed by the jewels and the cars and the fast-paced lifestyle they like to portray, because they're more likely sending you some bullshit course that they put together from a website called www.babypips.com. Go through the education center. You will find the exact same things they're sending you £500 to £1,000 per course is most likely in there, you know. So if you find it from that website, you go straight on from there, and then the rest, go seek a mentor from the individuals that I've mentioned from you, and then you take it step by step from there, and you'll be more than fine in terms of achieving long-term profitability on a consistent scale through the strategies and the techniques and the understanding of the market.
Okay, that's good. Final question. What's the impact you want to have in the world?
Me, to be honest with you, after I make 99% of my money, I'm giving it all away. As much as creating generational wealth for my children in the future, when I eventually have a wife and kids and stuff like that, because that's what I aspire to do, I want to be able to eradicate so many different social injustice and many, many things in life. You know, whether it be food, water, hunger, etc., like orphanages. You know, I'm a religious dude as well, you know, where, for example, like,
Islam.
Yeah, I'm a Muslim, innit? So it's the thing where, for example,
were you Somalian?
Yeah, I'm Somali.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, funny enough, Somalian actually isn't a word, you know. It's like calling it Iraqian.
Okay.
So the word is actually Somali.
Somali.
So, yeah, literally, it's cool, man. Don't worry. It's just I always correct everyone because everyone always forgets.
To educate people.
Yeah.
You learn something every day.
Yeah, for sure. So that's where I'm from. Anyway, from the north side.
Okay.
So yeah.
That's good. Well, it's been a good interview. It's been very, very interesting. Is there anything that you want to add?
I think Simon is a legend. I never expected today to expect this. When I was coming in, I was actually expecting to sleep. I'm not gonna lie to you, but this guy, he got me hooked. You know, you're doing big things for yourself, man, and I hope you guys enjoyed this interview, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful day and take into consideration what I had to say. And many blessings to you all. I wish you a wonderful year full of abundance, blessings, and incredible things to manifest in your life in every department, including you, Simon, without a doubt. You got this, bro.
All right, well, thanks a lot for that. Much appreciated. And just to let you know, guys, I did not prompt him to say all of that. He said that out of his own accord. We hope you liked that interview. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to get the latest daily episode. Ever considered investing in the continent with the fastest growing economy and population on Earth? The same continent that holds 30% of the world's known natural resources? Then listen to our sister podcast, Africa Investor Stories, where you will hear real investors with real stories from around the world share their experience of investing in Africa. We post Monday and Thursday at 10 a.m.